the voice from the darkness. Sound of heavy rain, distant thunder. Heavy rain pounded against the car roof, as if someone was nervously drumming their fingers on the glass. Sound of windshield wipers, water splashing. Victor kept his eyes on the road, squinting through the torrents of water on the windshield. Behind him lay a small, half-abandoned town, and ahead only a narrow road winding through the gloomy trees. Low static, crackling radio noise. Victor was heading home after a long business trip. He was exhausted, and the deserted road seemed endless. Suddenly, the radio crackled, and through the static, a faint voice emerged. Distorted whisper, Victor. Silence, heartbeat sound. He jerked his eyes toward the dashboard, but the radio display flickered, as if struggling with interference. Probably just a coincidence, he thought. Voice, clearer now. Victor, don't stop. A deep breath, rustling of clothes. A chill ran down his spine. He glanced in the rearview mirror, but there was only darkness behind him. Victor switched off the radio, trying to convince himself it was just his imagination. But then, a strange thumping noise came from the trunk. First faint, then louder. Thump. Silence. Another thump, louder. His heartbeat quickened. He slowed the car, but the words he had just heard echoed in his mind. Don't stop. Tires rolling on wet pavement. Turn signal clicking. At last, curiosity overcame fear. Victor pulled over to the side of the road, turned on the hazard lights, and slowly stepped out of the car. Car door opens, heavy rain, deep exhale. The rain lashed against his jacket, cold droplets running down his face. He walked to the trunk, took out his keys, and, taking a deep breath, opened it. Trunk creaks open. Empty. Victor exhaled in relief, but then he heard footsteps behind him. Fast, approaching. He spun around, crunching gravel, rushing footsteps, and saw his own reflection, but not in a mirror standing right in front of him, as if someone with his face had emerged from the darkness. Deep whisper, I warned you. Victor tried to scream, but the world around him faded into blackness. High-pitched ringing, muffled breathing. A sharp metallic ringing filled his ears as Victor jolted awake. His body ached, and his clothes were soaked not just from the rain, but from sweat. He was lying on the cold asphalt, the headlights of his car illuminating the trees ahead. Soft radio static in background. The trunk was still open. Sound of shaky breathing. Struggling to his feet, Victor scanned the surroundings. No sign of the double, but something was different. The road looked older, the trees taller, as if decades had passed in a blink. Radio crackling, a faint whisper. Victor, run. Leaves rustling, distant footsteps. The voice was weaker this time, almost pleading. A shadow moved among the trees. Not just one, several. Figures emerging from the darkness, all with familiar faces. His own face. Heartbeat sound increasing, hurried breaths. Victor stumbled back, heart pounding. He had no choice. Sound of feet running, fading into the distance. He ran,